Silence. Just. Good morning, students. In the last class, we discussed about the electrolysis, the different factors which affecting the selective discharge of ions, and what are the different types of electrolytes. We discussed how the electrolytes are splitting up into oppositely charged ions, that the cation and anion, and how these ions are migrating towards the oppositely charged electrodes. As a result, we concluded that at cathode deposition takes place and at anode liberation takes place. In an electrolytic cell, at the anode oxidation takes place and there the substance is liberating. Whereas in the cathode the substances are depositing. So finally either there will be liberation or there will be deposition of the substances taking place in an electrolytic cell. Now, to relate the amount of substance deposited or liberated by the passage of electric current, what is the quantitative relationship between this quantity of between the amount of substance deposited or liberated and the amount of current passing through the electrolyte? That we will discuss today. In the last class, we discussed that whenever electric current is passed through, the electrolytes are splitting up into ions and the ions are migrating toward the oppositely charged electron. This is a qualitative idea. Now, quantitatively, how the amount of substance deposited or liberated is depending upon the quantity of electricity or the strength of current passing through the electrolytes, that is given by laws called the Faraday's laws. So today we will discuss about the quantitative relationship between the amount of substance deposited or liberated and the amount of current. That is given by your Faraday's laws. So we have two laws of Faraday, Faraday's first law and Faraday's second law. In fact, the Faraday's second law is only an extension of the Faraday's first law. So first of all, we will discuss about the Faraday's first law of electrolysis. Okay, Faraday's first law of electrolysis. Faraday's first law of electrolysis. Okay, so what says it? As already we discussed, see, whenever we are having an electrolytic cell, okay, we are having the electrodes, okay, cathode and anode connected to a source of battery, okay, this is your anode, cathode, we have the electrolyte here, okay. Now when you pass the current, what happens? So this is your anode positive, cathode negative. Now cation goes to cathode and anion goes to your anode. That means see, at the cathode what happens here? Deposition takes place, and at anode what happens here? Liberation takes place. And this deposition and liberation depends upon the strength of current passing here. That is given by the Faraday. So Faraday, after doing a number of experiments on this, found that the amount of substance deposited at the cathode or the amount of substance liberated at the anode is proportional to the quantity of electricity passing through the given electrolyte. It depends upon the amount of current passing through the electrolytes. If the strength of current, if the amount of current is more, accordingly the more amount of substance will deposit or liberate. If the quantity of electricity and the quantity of charge is more, then the amount of substance deposited or liberated will be more. If the quantity of electricity, the charge in coulomb is less, then accordingly the less amount of substance will deposit or liberate. That means, suppose W equal to what, the amount of substance deposited or liberated. If W is the amount of substance deposited or liberated in gram, okay, and suppose Q is the quantity of electricity okay, in coulomb, when charge in coulomb, then W proportional to what, your Q. W proportional to Q. So what you can say? The amount of substance deposited or liberated at an electrode as a result of electrolysis is directly proportional to the quantity of electricity passing through the given electrolyte. This is the statement of the first law. Okay, so if W is the amount of substance deposited or liberated, Q the quantity of electricity, then W proportional to what, your Q. Or I can write W equal to what, your ZQ. W equal to what, your ZQ. Here this Z is called what, your electrochemical equivalent, called what, your electrochemical equivalent. It's a constant called what, your electrochemical equivalent of a particular substance. Now we know, so Q is the what, your Q is the charge in coulomb, okay, but Q equal to what, your I into T. Q equal to what, your I into T, but I is what, your strength of current in ampere, T the time in second. Here what, your I is what, your strength of current in ampere, and T is what, your time in second. Okay, so what I can write? W is equal to ZQ is equal to ZIT. W equal to ZQ equal to what, ZIT, because Q equal to I into T here. Q the quantity of electricity, that is your charge in coulomb, I the strength of current in ampere, T the time in second, then Q equal to IT, therefore W is equal to ZQ is equal to what, your ZIT. Now if you see here, now if I take I equal to, now if I equal to 1 ampere, and T equal to what, your 1 second. If I equal to what, your 1 ampere, T equal to what, your 1 second. That is what, your Q equal to 1 coulomb. So Q equal to what, your, that is Q equal to that is what, your Q equal to what, your 1 ampere into 1 second equal to what, your 1 coulomb. If I equal to 1 ampere, T equal to 1 second, that is Q equal to 1 coulomb, then what, your this you can say this equation 1, equation 2, So now W equal what here? Z. Because Q equal to 1 or I is 1 ampere, T is 1 second, so W equal to Z. That means see, Z, the electrochemical equivalent is the amount of substance deposited or liberated when 1 ampere of current is passing through the electrolyte for 1 second. Or you can say Z, the electrochemical equivalent is the amount of substance deposited or liberated at the electrode when 1 coulomb of electricity is passing through the electrolyte. Okay. Now this W equal to, now this Z is what the electrochemical equivalent. Also it is found that experimentally if you find now 96,500 coulomb of charge, 96,500 coulomb of charge if will be applied, then 1 gram equivalent of the electrolyte will be deposited or liberated. Okay, so 96,500 coulomb of charge is equal to what? 1 gram equivalent is equal to E. Okay, now see. So if I proceed, so because 96,500 coulomb of charge is producing 1 gram equivalent of substance. Now if I apply the 1 gram equivalent, so what I can write here, 96,500 coulomb of charge deposits, okay, or liberates equal to what? E. E means equivalent gram, equivalent weight. Now therefore 1 gram, so therefore 1 coulomb will deposit or liberate equal to what? E by 96500 gram. Or this is called what? E by F gram. But F is what? F equal to what? F equal to what? 1 Faraday. The bigger unit of electricity called what? 96,500 coulomb. Okay. So 1 coulomb of electricity will deposit how much? E by F gram. But we know 1 coulomb of electricity is depositing what? Z. Z is the electrochemical equivalent, which is the amount of substance deposited or liberated when 1 coulomb of electricity is passing through the electrolyte. So because 1 coulomb is depositing Z, and here we have seen 1 coulomb is equal to what? Depositing E by F. So this implies what I can write, Z is equal to E by F. Okay. Here 1 coulomb will deposit how much? E by F gram. Here 1 coulomb deposit how much? Z. That means see, Z equal to what? E by F. So electrochemical equivalent of a substance is what? Equivalent weight of substance divided by 96,500 coulomb. Because we know 96,500 coulomb of electricity will deposit E gram, that is equivalent weight, 1 gram equivalent. Therefore 1 coulomb will deposit E by F, that is your Z. So now I can write, this implies W is equal to ZQ is equal to what? ZIT is equal to what? Z means E by F. So EIT by F also I can write. So W equal to ZQ equal to ZIT equal to E by F IT. Where E is what? Equivalent weight. I is the strength of current in ampere, already we know. T is the time in second, and F is what? F is the 1 Farad, already we know. Now we have E equal to A by N. equal mass of substance equal what? Atomic mass by valence. If you take an element, copper, silver, anything if you take, equal what? Atomic mass A by valence N. So equal A by N. So where here what? Here A is what? Your atomic mass, N what? Your valency. Okay. Therefore what I can write? E equal to A by N. So what I can write? W is equal to ZQ is equal to ZIT is equal to EIT by F. Here again E equal to A by N. So AIT by NF. So W equal to ZQ is equal to ZIT is equal to EIT by FO is equal to AIT by NF. Okay. So this is the amount of substance deposited or liberated. W is what? Amount of substance deposited or liberated. Z is what? Your electrochemical equivalent of the substance which is depositing or liberating. Q is the quantity of electricity that is your charge in coulomb. I is what? Your strength of current in ampere. T is the time in second. Now E is the equivalent weight of the substance which is depositing or liberating. Okay, and F is 1 Faraday, that is 96,500 coulomb, and A is the atomic mass of the substance which is depositing or liberating, and N is the valency of the element which is depositing or liberating. Okay, so this is the whole idea of this first law. So all total the conclusion is what? The amount of substance deposited or liberated is depending upon the quantity of the electricity or the strength of the current. Okay, if you are passing more current for more time, then more amount of substance will deposit or liberate. This is the conclusion of the first law. Okay, now see, so this what I have discussed only in a one cell. If I take only one cell, I will have the two electrodes. Okay, and I will pass the current, then only one particular substance will deposit, okay, or one particular substance will liberate, and the amount of substance deposited or liberated will depend upon the strength of the current which I am passing through the electrolyte. Now let us extend this concept to two or more cells. If I take this one, a cell, okay, one cell having got two electrodes, right, and the cell, okay, having two electrodes, okay, and the cell having got two electrodes, okay. Now these cells are connected in a series manner. Plus minus, okay. These two are connected, plus minus, plus minus, plus minus. Okay. So in this electrolyte cells, I have taken an electrolyte. Suppose you have one copper sulfate. Suppose I have here taken here the N electrolytes, AgNO3. Suppose here I have taken what your one N1 or what Sc diluted water. That is your what your H2SO4 I have taken. Okay, so three electrolyte cells connected in series containing three different electrolytes. Okay, but the quantity of electricity that I am passing is same. Suppose I have Q coulomb of electricity I will supply. So if Q coulomb of electricity is passing through electrolyte cells 1, 2, 3 containing 3 different electrolytes. Okay, then what will happen? Let's see. Let us think about this one cell. This cell contains the copper sulfate electrolyte. Okay, and we have supplied some Q amount of electricity. Okay, let us know the W of Cu is the amount of substance deposited here in this cell at the cathode, and here your W of Ag is the amount of silver deposited at the cathode, and here W of H is the amount of hydrogen deposited at the cathode of this electrolytic cell. So amount of substance deposited, okay, amount of substances deposited, okay, W of Cu, W of Ag and W of H. So W of Cu is the amount of copper deposited, W of Ag is the amount of silver deposited, and W of H is the amount of hydrogen deposited at the cathode of these electrolytes. And we know Q is the quantity of electricity passed. Now, according to first law, okay, from Faraday's first law, if we apply, what will happen? W of Cu is the amount of copper deposited, and Q is the point of electricity. So W of Cu proportional to Q, or W of Cu is equal to Z of Cu into Q1. Okay, according to Faraday's first law. Similarly, if I apply this Faraday's first law to this cell, here W of Ag is the amount of silver deposited. So W of Ag proportional to your Q, and W of Ag is equal to Z of Ag into your Q. So amount of silver deposited is equal to electrochemical equivalent of silver into Q. Similarly, if I apply the same thing to this concept of this cell, then what you know, W of H proportional to your Q, or W of H equal to what you know, Z of H into Q. So the amount of substance deposited at the different electrodes are proportional to the quantity of electricity passing through the electrolyte, that is Q, okay, in the different electrolyte cells contained in a series. Now let us discuss. Suppose I will take this to 1 and 2. From 1 and 2. W of Cu is equal to ZCuQ, and W of Ag equal to ZHQ. So if I write W of Cu by W of Ag is equal to Z of Cu by Z of Ag into Q. So Q cancel out. You get what? Z of Cu by Z of Ag. That means the amount of copper deposited by the amount of silver deposited, okay, is equal to what? Electrochemical equivalent of copper by electrochemical equivalent of silver. But we know we have Z equal to E by F. Okay, so Z of Cu is equal to E of Cu by F, and Z of Ag is equal to E of Ag by F. Now therefore W of Cu by W of Ag is equal to Z of Cu by Z of Ag is equal to E of Cu by F into F by E of Ag. So equal to what? So W of Cu by W of Ag is equal to Z of cu by Z of Ag is equal to what? Your E of cu by E of Ag. Or you can say double of cu simply by double of Ag is equal to what? Your E of cu by E of Ag. Or you can say the double of cu proportional to what? Your E of cu. That means what happens here, you see, the amount of substance deposited at the different electrodes are proportional to the equivalent masses. So if you compare now this same thing, if I can compare for 2 and 3, double of Ag by double of H is equal to what? E of Ag by E of H. Or I can compare 1 and 3, double of cu by double of H equal to E of cu by E of H. So in this case, what conclusion we are getting, that the amount of substance deposited or liberated are proportional to the equal mass when the electrolyte cells are connected in series. If you compare here in these three cases, if you compare what happens, the equal mass of copper, silver and hydrogen are different. So the amount of substance deposited will be different. Okay. So the amount of substance deposited at this cell or this cell or these cells will depends upon their equivalent masses. So what you can say, when same quantity of electricity is passed through different electrolytic cells connected in series, then the amount of substance deposited at the different electrodes are proportional to their equivalent masses. This is called what? Faraday's second law of electrolysis. So all this is what? This is what? Faraday's second law of electrolysis. So what this is? Second law. Okay. Faraday's is what? Faraday's second law of electrolysis. So Faraday's second law of electrolysis. This is what? Only an extension of the Faraday's first law. Because in Faraday's first law we are taking one cell. In Faraday's first law we are taking what? Only one cell. In second law we are taking a number of cells and connecting in series, so that we are getting how this amount of substance deposited or liberated are depending upon their equivalent masses. Okay. So this you can extend to this and this also. Okay. Now see, if I go for 2 and 3. Okay. So from 2 and 3 also I can write. From 2 and 3 also I can write what? Double of Ag by double of HO is equal to E of Ag by E of H. Okay. So what you can say, amount of copper deposited divided by amount of silver deposited is equal to equivalent mass of copper by equivalent mass of silver. This is your Faraday's second law. Okay. So finally what you can say, the amount of substance deposited are proportional to their equivalent masses when the electrolytic cells are connected in series. Okay. Now let us discuss some numericals based on the first law and the second law. Okay. So let us have some numerical basing on the first law and second law. Okay. Before that, let us have a recap of the formulas. Already we discussed W equal to what? ZQ equal to ZIT is equal to EIT by FU is equal to AIT by NF. This is one formula for the first law. W equal to W is the amount of substance deposited or liberated in gram. Z is the electrochemical equivalent. Q the quantity of electricity or the charge in coulomb. I the strength of current in ampere. T the time in second. E the equivalent mass of the substance which is deposited or liberated. F is 1 Faraday, that is equal to 96,500 coulomb. A is the atomic mass of the substance which is deposited or liberated. N is the valency of the metal which is deposited or liberated. Okay. So this is the formula based on the first law. Okay. And another one also we have discussed that your double 1 by double 2. You can say that your double 1 by double 2 is equal to E1 by E2 equal to what your E1 by E2. This is what your the second law. If you have two different nuclear cells, okay, two different substances are deposited with the same electricity having different equal masses, then what your double 1 by double 2 is equal to E1 by E2 is the second law. Now basing on this, now let us solve this numericals. First one, 0.205 gram of copper was deposited. Solution number 1. 0.205 gram of copper was deposited by a current of 0.25 ampere in 45 minutes. What is the electrochemical equivalent of copper? Okay, let us see what is given here. 0.205 gram of copper was deposited. So W of Cu is equal to 0.205 gram by a current of 0.25 ampere. Current I equal what your 0.25 ampere in 45 minutes. Time t equal to what your 45 minutes equal to 45 into 60 equal to 2700 second. Okay. So amount of deposited substance deposited W, this much given 0.205, current 0.25 ampere, and time given this much of second. And what to calculate? What is the electrochemical equivalent of copper? That is what your Z of Cu. We know we have W equal to ZIT. W equal to ZIT. W equal to what? ZIT. This implies Z equal what? Z equal what? W by IT. Okay, that is your Z of copper is equal to W of copper divided by I into T is equal to what? W of copper, how much given? 0.205, 0.205. Okay, divided by I, how much given? 0.25 ampere. Okay, into T, how much is there? 2700. Okay, so W, gram, 0.25 ampere into second, equal to coulomb. What your 0.205 by 0.25 into 2700 is equal to 0.003 is your gram per coulomb. The answer. Okay. So simply the formula W equal to ZIT. Clear? Now next Number 2. Number 2, your find the mass of copper deposited. Find the mass of copper deposited from copper sulfate solution. So when a current of 0.25 ampere is passed for 1 hour. Find the mass of copper deposited. That means what your W of Cu we have to calculate. From copper sulfate solution, when a current of 0.25 ampere, current, strength of current, your strength of current I equal what your 0.25 ampere. It is pass for 1 hour. It pass for 1 hour. Time t equal what your 1 hour equal to 3600 second. Okay. And the atomic mass of copper given here what is 63. Atomic mass of copper. Okay. So A of Cu what 63 given. Okay. And we know the valency of copper in copper sulfate N equal what 2. So W is asked given what I given, T given, A given, N given. Okay. And so we have the formula W equal to AIT by NF. W equal what AIT by NF, where F is 1 Faraday. Okay. So therefore we have W equal to AIT by NF. Okay, this implies W equal to A, the atomic mass, how much? 63 into I, the strength of current 0.25, 63 into 0.25 ampere into T 3600 euro second divided by N, the valency 2 into F 96500 coulomb. Okay, so here ampere into second is coulomb by coulomb cancel out. Okay, and 63. So this much will get what your 0.2937 gram answer. Okay, so here we are using the formula W equal what your AIT by NF, because the atomic mass A given here 63. Okay, and the strength of the current I in ampere given here 0.25 ampere, and time T given here 1 hour, that is 3600 second. And we know the valence of this copper here in CuSO4 is 2. So I can put the formula W is equal to AIT by NF. W equal to AIT by NF. Okay, so this will be the answer. Okay, number 2. Then your number 3. Okay, question number 3. How many coulombs are required to produce 50 gram of aluminum from molten Al2O3? See, if I have solution number 3, if I have Al2O3, go for melting, I will get what? Al plus 3 plus O2 minus 2Al3 plus 3O2 minus. That means see, I am getting what your Al plus 3. Okay, so how many coulombs are required to produce 50 gram of aluminum from molten Al2O3? So we have Al plus 3 from the Al2O3 we have what Al plus 3. So Al plus 3 plus 3 electron will get what Al. So molten Al2O3 means we have what? We have Al plus 3. Okay. Now this 1 mole of Al plus 3 requires what? 3 mole of electrons to give what? 1 mole of aluminum. That is what? This is 1 mole equal what? 27 gram. And here your 3 mole of electron equal what? 3 Faraday equal what? 3 into 96500 coulomb of electricity. So 3 Faraday or 3 into 90,500 coulomb of charge is required to convert Al plus 3 into 27 gram of aluminum. So what I can write? 27 gram of aluminum. 27 gram of aluminum is requires what? 3 into 96500 coulomb of charge. Now what is asked here? How many coulombs are required to produce 50 gram of aluminum? Okay, so what I will write? Therefore 50 gram of aluminum will require equal what? 3 into 96500 divided by 27 into 50 is equal to milliwatt 535363111.11 okay 0.1 coulomb. Okay, so how many coulombs are required to produce 50 gram of aluminum from molten Al2O3? So when we are talking about the molten Al2O3, it is what? Al plus 3. That means see Al plus 3 is converting into Al. So here you see the Al plus 3 requires 3 mole of electron to convert into what? The aluminum. So that is 27 gram. So 27 gram of aluminum requires how much of charge? 3 Faraday. That means 3 into 96500 coulomb of charge. Therefore 50 gram will require this one. Okay, this is the answer. Clear? So 1, 2, 3. Now next. This is what number 4. How much electricity in ampere is required to liberate oxygen gas at the rate of 1 minute per second at NTP? How much electricity in ampere is required? That means see the strength of current is asked here. Question number 4. Solution question number 4. Strength of current I is asked here. Okay, to produce here to liberate oxygen gas at the rate of 1 minute per second. So time what? Time given what? 1 second. Okay, and your volume of oxygen given here what? 1 milliliter at NTP, and we know 22,400 milliliter of oxygen at NTP equal what? 32 gram. Okay, therefore 1 ml of oxygen at NTP is equal to 32 divided by 22400 gram. That means see weight of oxygen W equal what? 32 divided by 22400 gram. Okay. Now the valency of oxygen We know what? N equal to 2. So we have to calculate here what one? How much electricity in ampere is required? That means we have to calculate I. Okay. So and here the equivalent mass of oxygen equal to how much? 8. E equal to what? 8. So I can put here the W is equal to E I T by F. W equal what? E I T by F. We know equal mass of oxygen is what? 8, and I we have to calculate. Now W already we have calculated here, and T 1 second given, and F we know 96500 coulomb. So what I can say, this implies I is equal to WFO divided by ET. Here I is equal to WF by ET. Now W how much here? 32 by 22400 W into F how much here? 96500. Okay, divided by E how much here? 8, and T how much here? 1. So into 1 by 8. Okay, so this is equal to, look at what you 17.23 ampere. Answer. Okay, so because here given we have to calculate the electricity in ampere required to liberate oxygen gas at the rate of 1 ml per second. So if you want to liberate the oxygen 1 ml per second, that means per second we want to liberate 32 by 2000 to 22 to 2400 gram of oxygen. It's a W. Okay, and already T is given 1 second. And we know the equal mass of oxygen is 8. So we put the formula W equal to EIT by F. W equal to what? EIT by F. This implies I equal to WF by ET. And we calculate the formula 17.23 ampere. Okay, clear? Next one. Number 5. When an electric current is passed through acidated water and copper sulfate solution simultaneously, that means you will apply here the first second law, because we have taken 2 cells here. Weight of H2 and copper liberated are this and this. So we can write double of H2 is equal to 0.0132 gram and double of copper equal to 0.4164 gram. Okay, respectively. Calculate the equal mass of copper. Okay, now see from Faraday's second law, double of H2 by double of Cu is equal to E of H2 by E of Cu. Okay, so double of H2 given how much? 0.0132. So 0.0132 divided by double of Cu how much? 0.4164 is equal to E of H2 1. We know equal mass is 1 by E of Cu. This implies E of Cu is equal to 0.4164 divided by 0.0132 is equal to how much? Look at what? 31.52. 31.52 is the equal mass of copper. Okay, so E1 here the formula we used here what? W1 by W2 is equal to E1 by E2. Okay, next number 6. how many coulombs are required for the oxidation of FeO into Fe2O3. You see question number 6. FeO is what? Fe2 plus O2 minus. Now Fe2O3 is what? Fe3 plus O2 minus. 2Fe3 plus 3O2 minus. That means see, when we discussing about FeO into Fe2O3, that means what? Fe2 plus into Fe3 plus. So how can you get it? Simply Fe2 plus minus 1 electron is what? Fe3 plus. That means what? 1 mole of electron. 1 mole of electron equal what? 1 Faraday equal what? 96500 coulomb. Equal what? 96500 coulomb. So 96500 coulomb of charge is required to convert 1 mole of FeO into Fe2O3. So this is all about what? First law and second law.